Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're going to be taking a look at Golem Rune. You summon the golems and we boost them up. So pretty straightforward. You've got things like Golem Assault, which are insanely good for their card. Put a Conjure Golem into the hand. Enhance 6 isn't the biggest issue with this card. Mainly you want the Earthright subtract 1 for all Conjure Golems. The 6 is nice if you do get pulled into a late game, but mainly using it as a 2-drop is a lot more efficient, especially when comboed with the amount of Earthrights that we can use. Alchemist's Workshop, not a big one, but still good for the Golem. Golem Protection, another one of the big cards that give you the boosts. Summon a Guardian Golem, Earthright give +2/+2. So the main key to this deck is making sure you have the Earthrights on board to use the Golems, which can be a little tricky. We also run Double Winter, just in case we need those transforms in the early to mid game cards, especially against things like, really heavy aggro decks. If you don't get to block out early enough, then you've got options in the late game. Juno obviously being good for Guardian summons. Twin Guardians, another one that gives a nice boost and a summon. And that pretty much rounds the main cards out. You've got the Alchemist, which is obviously just a draw 3 with the Earthright. And that's pretty much it. So we'll get right into some games here and we'll go over the mulligans. Match 1 being against another Rune class. Keep things fresh and interesting. Why not? This deck isn't exactly great or perfect, especially not for laddering, but it is a fun little deck and it has some interesting synergies, which I really like, between the Golem Assault and the Witch's Cauldron cards and different things like that. So this hand is actually really quite good. Getting those early sigils, especially the ones that draw you, which being Witches, and Golem Assault and Apprenticed Alchemist work really nicely together. I mean, I can Alchemist, then I can Witches, then I can Golem Assault, I can drop, 2 Golems down to 1, and have a lot of playable options. This deck works really well against aggro decks, especially things like Blood, as long as you do get those early Golems. If you don't, you are pretty screwed, which is unfortunate. But as I said, definitely not a competitive deck, but a fun one to play if you are looking for something a little different. So we get that couple of damage. We've got our Conjure Golems drop down to 1. We've got a Golem, another Golem thing in our hands, so we can actually combo that off as well if we get to. Meaning we'll have 0 cost Golems. Basically letting us fill the board up as much as we want on the super early turns. Meaning this Rune isn't really going to be able to keep up easily. And giving us plenty of options for damage. We also have Dwarven Alchemist, which is a nice little draw card, or Mage if we need it, for that damage. They do decide they want to get rid of a Golem, which is okay. I mean, why not get rid of a Golem if you can? But Alchemist's Workshop gives us the Earth Sigil, gives us an extra Golem, and then I decide why not ram 8 to face. I mean, turn 5, what are they really going to be doing? Even if they play the worst of worst cards, I'm still going to be in a good spot overall. So why not? Dwarven Alchemist, Earth Essence, not enough to kill these Golems. They may be able to trade into 2 of them, but that's about all they're going to get. So we can do 8 damage with Time Worn in the next turn, which is pretty favourable. We also have other options, like we can drop the Alchemist whenever we kind of want to go with the Earth Sigils, or we can drop Apprentice Alchemist and get more things. There's just a lot of good options that go with these cards. And getting another Golem Assault really sets us up nicely. Fortunately, they do concede, realizing they're not going to be able to compete. So, into our next match, being against a Dragon. Again, you are looking for the early 1-drop sigils and the decent 2-drop combo pieces, such as Alchemist to summon out another one, and Golem Assaults. This hand isn't great. I mean, it's pretty weak. We do get the initial defense on the turn 1, but outside of that, it's going to be hard to really pull it off. This is a pretty great deck to just have fun with. If you're not taking the game too seriously, or you just want to, play Rune for the heck of it, it's definitely a fun thing to do. So we have the Dwarven Alchemist for turn 2. It's an okay play. I mean, it can go nicely. Fortunately, we do draw glow into glow, so returning the Unica just gets us draw. It's like, why not? Unica can just keep being returned. Unfortunately, we don't really get anything else here. I mean, we do get the double Golem Assault, so cycling cards works pretty nicely. Outside of that though, nothing substantial. And the double Mushus. An absolute pain in the ass when you have to sacrifice things to get rid of them. Fortunately, Gingerbread does a good job of getting rid of one. And I do have to waste this evolve just to clear this other one. But we are setting up for a decent Golem Assault turn. Or Ancient Alchemist turn, so then we can Golem Assault for massive drops. Fortunately, they go for the Alice, which gets traded nicely with the Ancient. We get to deal that out, keep our Ancient on board, fill our hand with Golems, making things pretty nice, and we're not even worried about overdraw because we've got nearly everything we need. I mean, the Dwarven Alchemist does give me a nice sigil if I need it. The Golem Assault gives us a Golem and drops our hand, while allowing us to hopefully set up for other things in the future of this game. Unfortunately, Luriel's a little bit of a problem. It's a pain in the ass with its trading. Luckily, we have exactly what we need to deal with it in the Time Worn. Unfortunately, that means we can't do exactly what I wanted to do, and it just means we go for the Golem Assault drop anyway to set up for the next Golem Assault, which will give us like 5 columns to play if we want to. Because we can go into Dwarven, drop, Golem, drop all our Golems if we want, but we do play one Golem just as a little bit of a wall. Fortunately, they have Red Rage Worm, which is a different kind of dragon. Haven't really seen this one before, so definitely interesting that people are still experimenting with different decks. And I mean, why not? It's a card game. Experimentation's fun. So they trade with what they can. Luckily, I'm left with a pretty good hand. Getting this Earth Sigil, allowing us to use the Golem Assault to literally flood the board. We just play all 4 Golems. Why not? I mean, even in the worst case, they're probably not going to clear everything easily or effectively. So we're going to be left in an okay spot. So we get 2 3/3s and a 2/2. We got 2 Golem protections that we can't use because we don't have another Sigil, which is unfortunate. I should have actually used the 2/2 there instead and traded. That would have been way more beneficial overall, but this is okay. We get to fill the board again going into turn 9, which means we don't have to worry about a Bahamut drop. And they concede. And our final matchup is against Blood. This is a kind of aggro-orientated Blood deck, so it's interesting. But with a decent hand, usually you can handle it. I mean, Alchemist Workshop, probably the weakest card in this opener. Drawing the Golem protection, pretty average overall for your initial plays. The Time Worn's nice because we are going second, meaning I can pretty easily 2 for 1, maybe even 3 for 1 with the Mage. And Dwarven Alchemist, completing out our cycle for a 2-drop. Fortunately, they decide they want to push as much damage as they can, which is to be expected. They are playing an aggro Blood variant, obviously. And since we didn't have really anything for 3 other than Gingerbread, having that Apprentice is actually pretty good. Unfortunately, they do go for the Disagreeable, which I can't effectively deal with. I don't want to have to use this 2/2 to really deal with it. So I do decide to use the Gingerbread on the 2/1 while healing myself up just that little bit extra on top. I mean, why not? Why not do that? Get that healing, we get to get rid of something, we get to force them to have to play more stuff. It just feels great. Luckily, Time Worn is able to be dropped next turn, limiting their options. And we can also drop the scrap iron, because we will have enough points to do that. So we can go for the double clear, or we can aim for face damage. Either one kinda does well. Clearing out the board. Leave them with very few options if they are playing aggro blood. Fortunately, the Diablo Drain is pretty good getting that heal off. Now I'm going to decide how I want to play my next turn. Apprentice Alchemist is a nice little play. I mean, I can use the Conjure Golems and the Ancient Alchemist plus Evolve just so we can try and draw into something else that I might be able to use effectively. And if not, just milling out the deck a little bit. We do get another Golem protection, which if we do go to turn 7 will get some value. Unfortunately though, Karabos, very difficult for me to trade with effectively here. But I do decide to go with one of these Golem protections. I mean, why not? I've got another one. We've got another Earth Sigil we can set up. We've got Twin Guardians, which works nicely with the other Earth Sigil if we want to use it that way. And we can go for that 3 damage to face. Sure, Karabos is going to deal 1, but then I locked at 6 points, meaning they're not going to be playing anything too big. So we don't have to worry too much. Big Knuckle, clearing out my 3-3. Leaving me in a really tight spot with only 6 points of health left. Fortunately though, Conjure Golem plus Golem protection gives us a couple of 5/5s. We're pushing them against the wall now. But Belf getting that double draw without any drawback. How good. Fortunately they go for the Evolve here, meaning my Red Hot Ritual is actually going to do something. It does take a little risk because I'm only 6 health away, well 5 sorry, with the Karabos tick from dying. Meaning they only need to find 4 to actually kill me. But the Apprentice Alchemist does a good job at defending me. And we can play out the Earth Essence to prep the Juno or the Twin Guardians, depending on which one we want to go with. Whether we're looking for the damage or for the just double golems. But because they play that and they get the ward, we are going to be looking for that damage. And the second Scrap Iron Smelter combos nicely if they do start to clear us. So we do get a little lucky. I mean, they don't have the 3 damage they need. They only needed to have 3 damage and I would have died. Very, very close, but very, very well done. So, as always, the deck list will be in the description below. This is definitely a fun deck. Hopefully you guys can have some fun with it. I wouldn't recommend it on ladder, maybe just in unranked and have a good go. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and I will catch you guys next time. See ya.